I'd like to introduce now Chris Steineger, and he is a candidate for mayor of Wyandotte County.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Chris Steineger, I think you guys all know me by now. Yes, I'm a candidate for mayor. This is something I've thought about for many, many years. During the COVID shutdown, a lot of us had time to reprioritize what's important to us in life, and at that point, like a lot of you, I thought, I'm 59, or what am I going to do with the rest of my years? And I, earlier in the year, had no intention to run for mayor, but a lot of people kept coming up to me and asking me, Chris, you ought to run. You used to have a lot of good ideas about how to reform the unified government and the BPU. And it's true, I've thought about these ideas for 20 years. And finally, it kind of just came to me. I'm old enough to have the intelligence and the history to do it, and young enough still have the energy to take them on. So I filed on the last possible day and have been playing kind of a catch-up game on the campaign. But a bit of history. You guys know grew up in a political family. I've been volunteering in this community since I was a little boy, starting out at Grinner House when I was 10 years old, helping do chores out there. I served on the Wyandotte County Historical Society Board of Directors, the Kaw Valley Arts Board, numerous neighborhood groups. I've been active in the community since I was a kid, and literally since I was in my 30s, doing trash cleanups for Operation Brightside. When we had the flood in 1993, I helped evacuate people from A1 Trailer Park with my pickup truck, and I helped throw sandbags in the summer of '93 when so many water treatment plants went down up and down the Missouri River Valley. I was with the people, a bunch of young guys and old middle-aged guys throwing sandbags down at the BPU water treatment plant in Quindaro. And then when we had the tornado in 2005 that came through in northwestern Wyandotte County, I went up there with my pickup truck and my chainsaw, helped people clean up all the debris from their property. So I've been volunteering in many, many ways in our community for a long, long time. If you guys remember, we used to have a separate city and a separate county, Wyandotte County and Kansas City, Kansas. And there was a push about 20 years ago because we thought there was a lot of duplicated expenses between those two. The county and the city basically covered the same territory, yet the county had a human resources department, the city had a human resources department. The county had personnel and purchasing and a street crew, and the city had purchasing and personnel and a street crew. And a lot of us thought, why are we paying double? Our taxes are so high, we're paying double. And so before Carol Marinovich started talking about consolidation of city county, Chris Steineger was out there at public forums pushing the idea that we should merge these city and county together. There's no reason to have all these duplicated departments and duplicated positions. And sure enough, the citizens of Wyandotte County voted, I think, 57% in favor of city and county consolidation way back when. Carol Marinovich was mayor, took all the credit. I'll give her a little bit of credit. During the first couple of years, they held the line on spending. It worked for a while. But subsequent mayors, nice guys, whatever they were, Reardon, Holland, and Alley, have allowed spending to grow and grow and grow. And I want to come back to the BPU because when we did the consolidation 20 years ago, there was a lot of talk that the BPU, as Dennis Grindle accurately says, the BPU is a department of the city government. It is it's legally a department of the city government, just like the police, just like the fire, just like public works. It is a department of the city. But yet, since I've been a little boy, the BPU has been run and operated as a separate organization with a separate human resources department, a separate and duplicated purchasing department, a separate and duplicated IT department, a separate and duplicated public affairs guys who each have their own newsletter. And the big ones are these two fleets of dump trucks, backhoes with mechanics, supervisor, drivers, one of which is right across the highway, the BPU depot at 65th and Turner Diagonal, just a quarter mile this direction. We got 100 trucks there. I don't know how many people work, but we have the same exact effort funded by us, paid for by us, at 50th and State Avenue, where the old drive-in used to be. The UG has their truck depot there. So we, the citizens in this county, are paying duplicated departments and duplicated salaries. We've been doing this for decades, and it needs to end. It's not fair. You guys know I've been in the state Senate many, many years back in the 90s and 2000s. Every 4 years when I ran for election, I knocked on doors. I was the door-knocking king. No one could knock more doors than Chris Steineger. I ran in 92, I got beat, but I was a young guy. In 96, I ran the second time. I door knocked 4,500 to 5,000 doors in 1996. When you knock that many doors, you know what people think. It's not a theory. It's not, I heard about it, I saw it on Facebook. No, when you knock on that many doors and you have that many conversations with that many local residents, you know what they think. And I did it again in 2000. And I did it again in 2004. 4,500 to 5,000 doors each election cycle. 2008, I had no opponent, but 2012, my last time, I knocked that many doors again. As long as I've been active in this community as a political person, 30 years, people have complained about the property taxes. People have been complaining about the high property taxes for 30 years. In the recent 10 years, they're now complaining about the BPU bills as well, in addition to the property tax. So how do we solve this? If that's what the people are complaining about, that's what the people want, then let's solve this problem once and for all. We are Republicans. We're the party of Reagan. We know that a government that spends a lot, taxes a lot. A government that spends a lot, taxes a lot. A government that spends a little and is efficient, taxes less. And that's what we want as Republicans. And really, even the Democrats and independent voters in this county, that's what they want too. They want a government that spends less and taxes less and has lower utility rates. So how do we achieve that goal? Well, in my years in the Senate, I spent 16 years there. I served on what's called the Audit Committee. It's called the Legislative Post-Audit Committee. I served on that committee for 16 years. An audit of a government is not a novel concept to me. I used to design audits of state agencies. I used to help the staff prepare audits of state agencies. This is something I'm actually pretty darn good at doing. I know how to find how they're wasting money. Number two, I served on the Senate Ways and Means Committee, which is the budget committee for the state of Kansas. State government, when I started in '96, the budget was $13 billion. It's now about $20 billion. But for me, the UG and BPU budget is quite small compared to the budget I used to have a bit of oversight over at the state level. So let's talk about the UG and the BPU. The UG budget this year is about, round numbers, $365 million. $365 million for the UG. The BPU itself is $350 million alone. Add them together, $715 million. That's coming out of these all of us in this room, everybody in the county, through tax levies and through BPU bills, you're funding a $715 million local government budget, okay? So if the UG, if the BPU is a department of the UG, and it is legally, we all agree, then why are we paying for 2 fleets of dump trucks, 2 human resources departments, 2 information technology departments, 2 and 2 and 2? It's all double. This is a waste of our money. This is not fair. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Latino, older person, younger person. This isn't fair. It's not fair. The recent U.S. Census shows Wyandotte County has got about 166,000 people, right? 166,000. Here's a math problem coming at you. The UG and BPU together have about 3,500 employees, so it's 2% of the population. 166,000 people, 3,500 work at UG and BPU, that's 2%. That means 98% are paying the bill, and I just don't think it's fair that many people should pay. 98% should be paying abnormally high property taxes and abnormally high BPU bills. It's just not fair. I know where the money's at, and I've just explained to you. It's in these duplicated services. When we consolidated city-county 20 years ago, there was a lot of talk to bring the BPU in at that time. And at the last moment, I was a young guy, I wasn't part of the decision-making, but they decided, no, we better leave the BPU out for political considerations, because they thought all the BPU employees would vote no, and the public vote would go down to defeat. So the BPU was left out of that time for political considerations, not like good business planning. So I think it's time once and for all to finish the consolidation we did 20 years ago, number one. Number two, combine the duplicated departments. I think a lot of people, these days a lot of people want to retire early, so I think a lot of people should be given early retirement, some way to send them out to go boating or vacation or whatever they want to do as retirees. And the savings, saving that many salaries, must come back to the homeowners and property owners in the form of property tax relief. Every dollar of savings must go back to the people whose money it belongs to. The next thing I'm committed to is, I told you, the current UG budget is $365 million. If I'm elected mayor, I will do everything possible to hold the line at 365. No more, not a penny more, no more raises, no more whatever it takes, we're gonna hold the line at $365 million. We're not gonna spend, if inflation goes up, too bad, UG, you're gonna spend less. The best way, if you wanna put a government on a diet, you cannot let them increase for inflation, you gotta hold the line. You know, Trump tried to do that, he got rolled. The budget, all 4 Trump budgets ended up spending more than Obama. Trump got rolled on the budget. I'm not gonna get it rolled. I've been on budget committees before. I served in the state legislature. I was on the budget committee 8 years in a row. I know how not to get rolled. I know how not to get rolled by the staff or misled by the staff. So, trying to hit towards conclusion, I'm a pretty direct guy. I'm a business guy. I've ran my apartment building. I did a lot of rental houses. I worked my way up, one rental house, then a second, then a third, then a fourth, then a fifth. Eventually had 40 rental houses, always with my money, always with me in charge of managing these renovations and then getting them rented. I sold all the rental houses some years ago. I have an apartment building. It was a multi-million-dollar rehab. The first $100,000 was my money, the money I saved. And I was on that project every day, making sure the plumbers, the electricians, the sheetrockers, the floor layers did their work. It was my money. I was the one at risk. So I'm a very hands-on kind of a guy. I'm a very process-oriented person. I know how to manage great big state budgets. I know how to manage a couple $1 million apartment rehab projects. So I think I have the budget skills to bring home consolidation of the BPU and the UG and passing the savings back onto the taxpayers who deserve it, whose money it belongs to. And I think I have what it takes to work for the 10 commissioners. I know 6 or 7 of these commissioners somewhat well. I don't know who's going to get elected in this election cycle, but I think I can lead the commissioners. You do have to have their support to make these kinds of changes. But if you want to save money, I told you the combined budgets, UG and BPU, is $715 million. If you cut $1 million out, no one will notice. No one will notice the difference in their property tax bill. If you cut $10 million out and gave it back to the people, they won't notice it. You got to make substantial property tax cuts for people to believe in it and believe that it's real. And the only way to do this, there's not enough other ways, Darren, there isn't. There's ways there's plenty, but not enough to make a real big difference without the consolidation and eliminating all the duplicated departments. It's the only way to make substantial property tax relief that these people have wanted for 30 years. So I've been door knocking all over the county again, just like I did in the olden days, sample knocking all over the county, little samples here and there, and it's the same old stuff. People are worried about property taxes, utility bills, secondarily, crime and code enforcement. And I've got plans in place just trying to work with the police a little bit. I did a police ride-along last Monday. Now, speaking about crime, I've been an inner city operator for a long, long time. I own rental property, not in the deep hood, but in the inner city, and I have dealt with a lot of problem people over the years and been in some problem situations that were not fun. I've never had a gun pulled on me, but pretty close a few times. But I went on a police ride-along Monday night, and it is scary, guys. It's scary and it's sad, the things you see at Eastern Wyandotte and some of the really heart-wrenching people. You see meth heads and crackheads that are in really bad condition, and you know their addiction is so bad they probably won't be around in another year. But and we have a lot of those people in Eastern Wyandotte, and it's sad. It's scary, but it's also sad because some of these people, they won't make it. They're in that bad a shape. And the cops, our cops are feeling a lot of pressure right now. It's a national phenomenon. Cops are retiring and quitting across the nation, and they're not able to refill the ranks with new people. Every police department in the country is suffering this, including our own. I rode with 2 different officers on Monday night, and one a 20-year guy who said, I want to retire as soon as possible. Another, a 5-year veteran, said, she makes $72,000 a year. That's pretty good money. But they feel so much pressure. They feel like with the media bagging on the cops, making every cop look bad, when in fact it's like 0.1% that do some bad things. The cops are feeling very underappreciated. So I would urge, kind of in closing, every one of us, we need, I know we Republicans feel like we're back in the blue, but we need, if you see a cop, say thank you for your duty. So that's in short. I could go on forever, but I appreciate your time. I'd like to be your next mayor. I'd ask for your vote.